The film Rashomon, directed by Akira Kurosawa, is a groundbreaking film made in the 1950s. The film initially had little commercial success in Japan, but over time became a major international hit, especially after winning the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival in 1951. The film itself is set within feudal Japan and tells a complex narrative that revolves around three men attempting to understand the truth behind the brutal assault of a woman and the murder of her husband. The film is told through four different testimonial accounts, which include the dead themselves. With each of these testimonies contradicting each other, the film challenges the notion of objective truth and delves into the nature of human experience and memory. After the Second World War, as Japan was attempting to recover from the severe aftermath, director Kurosawa, who did not find the war himself as he was considered physically unfit, embarked on an artistic journey. Here he made films that were meant to inspire and restore faith in a ruined nation. But one film stood out. Rashomon was a film created by Kurosawa to depict the rawest form of human psychology. Rashomon is considered by many to be a way for Kurosawa to depict the conscience of himself and the Japanese people. It depicts the social, physical, and moral impacts that were placed on Japan through its involvement and devastating impacts of the defeat of World War II. Rashomon uses a non-linear, circular narrative structure, which is a narrative structure where events are presented in a non-chronological order, and the narrative concludes in a way that returns the viewers to the beginning. For us, this is returning to the three men under the gate after they told all their stories. The structure is made to present the four conflicting accounts on the rape of a woman and the suspicious death of her samurai husband. Each version of the story is told from four different perspectives of different characters: the bandit, the wife, the samurai, through a medium who states she can speak to the dead, and a woodcutter who claims to have seen everything. However, none of the stories match and can be seen as a reflection of the storyteller's biases and motivations. Kurosawa never provides a definitive version or ending to what occurred, forcing the audience to interpret and question each different account. This reinforces the film's theme of truth being subjective and shaped by perception. The mise-en-scène is simple throughout the movie, but contains deep symbolic meanings. The film opens on the ruined gate of Rashomon. The gate itself is crumbling and soaked by the rain. The ruined gate acts as a symbol of the social and moral decay of traditional Japanese civilization and culture for both 12th century and 20th century Japan. The three men underneath, the priest, woodcutter, and the citizen, also act as different viewpoints for the Japanese people after the war. The priest believes the truth and the next steps of action can be found in a higher being, likely the emperor, as he was seen as a godly figure within Imperial Japan. The woodcutter is a stand-in for the citizens who were stunned by the aftermath of the war and were torn between following a higher figure or picking up the scraps to survive. And finally, the citizen has chosen to survive through the wreckage of society for his survival, caring very little for others, evident when he robs the baby, which is meant to be a character to show hope and endurance of the human spirit. Finally, within the setting of the courtroom, the audience is shown no judges. Instead, it has the characters talking towards the viewers, shifting the responsibility of the judge to the audience. The camera focusing on only the characters, which allows for people to see the raw emotion and each contradiction and intention of each narrator. Cinematographer Kazuo Migawa became widely praised for his innovative use of symbolism throughout Rashomon. Kazuo is known for his notable use of traditional Japanese art forms like ukiyo-e prints, where there are strong compositions and dramatic contrasts between light and shadow. His use of sunlight, which filtered through the trees, allows for an unsettling, dreamlike visual tone within the forest, which is shared in all of the character stories. Additionally, the camera in a Rashomon could be considered an active character within the story. Kazuo used multiple different camera movements to reflect a character's behavior and story. It acts as a gateway to bring the audience into the chaos of the character's memories. For example, when the bandit has his chance to tell his version of the story, the camera work becomes quickly erratic and impulsive, which directly mirrors the wild nature of the character, forcing the audience to see his point of view. In contrast to this, the camera during the woodcutter's narrative is a lot more controlled and slowed to show the careful and worried mannerisms of the character. Kurosawa's use of editing helps reinforce the film's themes of perception. Each character's accounts are framed similarly, but there are slight changes with the pacing and focus to help signal towards the audience the contrasting viewpoints. The same event, such as the samurai's death, is shown numerous times but edited to differentiate between the emotions of each character and their story. The editing in the bandit's account to POV shots of the wife is also used to visually remind the audience to question the veracity of the bandit's claims, break different accounts of the story, and get the audience closer to the truth, even if it isn't given. Finally, the soundscape of Rashomon is highly effective. Diegetic sounds such as the relentless rain that batters down on the gates of Rashomon sets a depressing tone, echoing the despair of each character. Non-diegetic sound also plays a prevalent role throughout the film. Japanese composer Fumio Hakayasa also blends sound to create and heighten eerie and uncertain moments, which flows with the scene to reflect the emotional truth and impact of each scene and its character, reinforcing the uncertainty of truth and psychological impact. Rashomon is a black and white masterpiece. It explores the deep, sometimes troublesome parts of the truth when it comes to the multiple perspectives. It's heavily influenced by the post-war Japanese mindset, at some point being an embodiment of the broken Japanese people and society. Linear narrative, use of mise-en-scene and expressive use of cinematography, the film challenges the idea of there being a real truth to any situation. Kurosawa never answers any of the questions he creates, but leaves the audience with the uncertainty of truth itself.